Tip is up. Prentice Hub with the opportunity to run the show for Notre Dame right now. And Louisville opens up in a man-to-man. Louisville actually played some zone against North Carolina. Chris Mack used that in order to be able to try to save the legs of his players. However, it did not work in the end. As Louisville gets out looking to run early in this game, be interesting to see what their conditioning level is and the difference between what they have tonight in comparison to what we saw from them on Saturday after a couple of great days of practice, according to Chris Mack. Immediately you hear, and of course without too many fans in the building, although Louisville does allow 3,000 fans. After his team lost earlier this season, a heartbreaking loss to Georgia Tech, they went into Cameron Indoor and beat Duke. Well, after a heartbreaking loss against Syracuse on Saturday, they are now trying to come up with a big win on the road here at Louisville, as we see Malik Williams teeing one up for three, unable to finish it. But right now, this is one of the areas of concern for Mike Brey early, was being able to finish plays on the defensive glass, and already 3 opportunities on this possession alone for the Cards. Dre Davis for 3, and Dre Davis back into the lineup after missing the majority of the North Carolina game with a thigh bruise. Chris Mack said that there was very little interruption in practice for him over the past couple of days. So great to see Dre Davis back on the floor, knocking down the first shot for the Cards. Will be an interesting task for Louisville in this game to be able to see how they approach it without David Johnson, who has started every game this season. But you see a 3 from Jalen Withers knocking down from the wing, and just like that, Louisville off to a great start, shooting the basketball from 2 again. Guarding him, he's able to find Withers on the wing, who's able to stretch it out and knock down the 3. Juwan Durham with the bucket. Durham has the ability to face up and shoot out to about 17 feet, playing against a great defender in Malik Williams in this one. Williams won't give up much opportunities around the rim, but Juwan Durham really showing off where he's improved as a basketball player, a 58% career field goal percentage shooter, which is one of the tops in Notre Dame history. Another offensive rebound to Samuel Williamson, who's been averaging over 10 rebounds a game over the past 4 games. And just like that, 2 more opportunities on the offensive glass for Louisville turns into second chance points. Juwan Durham stretching out the range, unable to finish the 3, but just like that gets his own offensive rebound, which was an issue for Chris Mack's group against North Carolina in Chapel Hill. They gave up way too many offensive rebounds. And of course, North Carolina, one of the best offensive rebounding teams, but Chris Mack upset about the fact that they were giving up rebounds on free throw misses, which is a problem for any. A defensive breakdown by Notre Dame, leaving Jalen Withers, who has already knocked down 1 3 from the opposite wing, and running away from the man with the basketball. Coach Brey cannot be happy to see that, especially when you give up a look to a very good shooter who's already gotten hot to start the game. Right now for Notre Dame, it seems as though Juwan Durham is going to be the focus offensively, as he's been the guy very aggressive looking for his offense for the Fighting Irish. But right now they're going to have to find a way to get their other guys involved, as Durham has taken already in this game 4 attempts. No other player more than 1. Louisville early switching all pick and roll action. Chris Mack trusting his players to defend Even the big stepping out and guarding guards, trying to take them out of their action. And great ball movement, getting the Cards an opportunity, but they turn it over as Withers loses the basketball in the painted area, moving the basketball side to side. Great action. Juwan Durham on the glass once again, coming up with his second offensive rebound and second putback. Already 4 second chance points for Durham. So where Louisville is going to try to flex their muscle on their offensive board, Juwan Durham has come out very aggressive in this game. 2 offensive rebounds for putbacks already for him in the opening 5 minutes of this game. As Carlik Jones touches the paint and has the home courted bounce.
In a breath. 14:24 to go here in the first half.
You know, Obi, one of the things you and I have talked about is the hangover from Notre Dame. You know, Louisville's loss was so bad, it's one where you basically say throw out the tape. But the hangover for Notre Dame being up 20 and then losing that game at Syracuse, do they feel snake bitten? Do they come out with the approach of, hey, we've got to get rid of that feeling and come out and try to get a win? Or does that linger and cost them another game?
Over and done, you know, before you get on the plane. A different story, Notre Dame, because that was a game they should have won. They should have had that one in the bank.
Well, and that's what Mike Gray, you know, let us know earlier. They should have won that game, and it's a heartbreaking loss because you're in a position now where you're trying to make a push to get into the NCAA tournament, you know, field. A win at Syracuse definitely would have helped that cause, but passing up on that opportunity to get a win over a quality team on the road is tough. Mike Bray did let us know earlier, however, if they're able to get this win tonight, that really washes away those feelings and it makes up for that loss because Louisville is a team that's in the field in comparison to Syracuse trying to get in.
Slazinski there at the foul line, slamming on the brakes. Withers rolls right to a teammate. Going to be quite short there. And
Jalen Withers unable to handle the basketball on that possession, but he has been spectacular to start this game thus far.
Coming in averaging 10 points, 8 rebounds a game. The redshirt freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina. Notre Dame with a basketball. Prentice Hub had a tough day against Syracuse. Many of his teammates certainly did that second half. Goodwin on the drive. He'll starting tonight back on the floor. And Goodwin sinks that.
Scores your second leading scorer, but also your secondary ball handler. And that is something where you consider another playmaker and a guy who makes a lot of not only offensive plays for your team, but defensively as well. So a big hole in the middle of this team for Louisville in this game. They've gotten off to a great start, but how do they sustain it? And, of course, after that 19-day layoff, you know, they ran out of juice against North Carolina. Will they be able to sustain that effort as well?
Battle for the rebound, and the Irish come away with it. Yeah, you throw that around, and I do too. But that's 3 weeks without playing a game, and it wasn't their first COVID pause. They've had a couple of those. That could wreck a lesser team with lesser talent totally. Has not done that to the Cardinals.
And Obi, it's not just the 3 weeks without playing a game. More importantly, it's the lack of practice time. When you don't have that practice time and being able to go at it and continue to maintain that competitive balance, that's where the struggle comes in, and that's where Chris Mack saw a lack of competitive nature from his team. But honestly, it was expected after that layoff.
Jones with the kick out, and a long distance shot didn't touch anything, saving it on the baseline. Williams, but back over to the Irish, and here they come with Wirtz getting it off to Ryan. This is one thing Notre Dame does exceptionally well. They move the basketball. They look for each other, passing it very effectively. Good get-back defense here by the Cardinals, though.
Yeah, 100% correct. And when you think about that, that was a great ball movement possession by Notre Dame, but an even better defensive possession by Louisville, not giving up an open look.
Shogo flips it out for the long one, but it's around and out. So the Cardinals have to consider that an excellent defensive stop. Notre Dame is 0 for 5 from three-point land.
And this is a team that needs the 3 to be successful.
Our homes tonight, Louisville and Notre Dame. They're at the KFC Yum Center, one of the top arenas.
And we talk about missing environments. This is probably my favorite environment to do a basketball game, a college basketball game, is at Louisville. When you consider the fact that you have not, just a normal on-campus arena, but you've got about 25,000 knowledgeable fans in the arena rooting for their team, but respectfully. And again, that's one of the things I love about Louisville is the way they go about it. They don't care about, discouraging the opponent. They're only there to encourage their team. Love doing games at the Yum Center. Missed that significantly this year.
No question.
And by the way, they have great food in the media room.
That's right. I know where
your heart takes
really
good
lies.
care of us.
Yeah.
You know what's really important to me.
Got to hit those priorities. Notre Dame off the turnover. Trying to cut into a 7-point deficit here on the road. Rolling to the basket, Durham. Off his own miss. Here's Ryan. Can't sink that.
The interesting no call on that possession right there. Normally, if you find anything close to the restricted area where there's contact, it's going to be a call one way or the other. But Carlik Jones taking advantage of the no call, and the foul actually would have been on him if there was a call made. So I'm pretty sure he's excited about the fact that there was no whistle blown on that possession.
Notre Dame just 4 for 16 shooting it. So they're looking more like the team that let it get away at Syracuse the other day here in the first half against the Cardinals tonight. From way downtown, that one's going to rattle home. So the three-pointer on target as the bottom comes out into that one on Prentice Hubb's long jumper, the 6'3" junior.
And Prentice Hubb's season has been like a roller coaster. It's the first Notre Dame three. But at the same time, he'll have a big game and come back and back it up with a game where he scores 4 points. He's done a great job all season long distributing the basketball. But one thing Mike Gray talked to us earlier about was the fact that they have never been able to get 4 of the 4 guards going. They're successful if they can get 3 of the 4 going, which doesn't happen often. They've often had 2 of the 4 having, productive evenings, and they can't win with only 2 of their 4 guys playing well on the perimeter.
Cardinals come away with it. Malik Williams, really strong defender. He really gives this team some much-needed leadership now that he's returned, doesn't he?
He does. His voice and from the back, and when you understand the fact that he's a guy that's always barking out instructions to his teammates in front of him because he's on the back line. The communication on the defensive end of the floor makes Malik Williams special. And, of course, his ability to knock down the 3 at 6'11" doesn't hurt either.
So the Cardinals have their biggest lead under 8 minutes to go, 25-14. They've got a lot clicking tonight. A little fall away by Durham won't fall in. Louisville's made 4 consecutive shots. Trying to add to that, jumping inside the lane, trying to get it off that window trainer, but it won't fall for him. And way downtown, a nice answer there by Trey Wirtz.
And that's Notre Dame basketball. Keeping your head up, looking ahead, kicking the ball ahead, looking for the opportunities from beyond the arc before the defense gets back and gets set. No coach allows you to play with more offensive freedom than does Mike Gray. And he has given his team permission, Obi, to go score 80 tonight because he says they'll need 78 to 80 to win here at the KFC Yum Center.
Williams working hard. Trainer has it knocked away. Notre Dame forcing the turnover. Cormac Ryan with it here. Yeah, you had a 28-point game against the Duke Blue Devils, and now all of a sudden they're going down as Hub nails one from the corner.
Well, and Prentice Hub looking like maybe this will be one of those games where he has a high where he scores in the 20s because he's gotten off to a good start now, shooting the basketball, knocking down his last 2 threes. And that seems to have energized him on the glass thus far, and that's been the difference maker where Notre Dame started out missing their first 6 threes, but have since made 3 in a row. You see the defensive intensity for Louisville picking up after the timeout. Chris Mack imploring his guys to be able to get out into the lane. And another opportunity right there where Quinn Slazinski steps in, takes the charge, but no whistle blown on that possession. Beautiful feed inside to Withers, who's unable to finish. And Notre Dame continues to try to find some momentum against this tough Louisville defense, moving the basketball around the perimeter, looking for those opportunities from beyond the arc where they've suddenly gotten hot. Nate Laszewski still scoreless on the evening thus far, unable to finish on that opportunity, but it's been Louisville who's missed their last 5 field goals, and now in a 3-minute scoring drought as Withers is unable to finish on another opportunity right at the rim, allowing Notre Dame to stick around here in the first half. Nikola Jogo on the midpoint, trying to find some action to be able to get them a good quality look on this possession. And another opportunity, just being caught off balance on that possession. But Notre Dame right now trying to find a way to continue to cut into this lead as Nate Laszewski, who's been quiet, the leading scorer for the Irish, still without any points in this game. And I will give it to this crew of Keith Kimball, Mike Stevens, and Bill Covington. They are allowing these guys to play in this game. We've seen a number of plays at the rim on both sides of the floor where there have not been fouls called because of small incidental contact. Of course, as an old school guy, I love it. I'm not sure if it fits into what today's game is about, but I can appreciate it going both ways. And on the offensive end of the floor for Notre Dame earlier, Suzinski knocks down his second free throw, increasing the lead to 7 for the Cards. Notre Dame in a scoring drought of its own the last 3 minutes and 12 seconds for the Fighting Irish, but they haven't been able to score it. So we saw significant scoring early from both teams in this game. It slowed down quite a bit. Louisville's helped itself with 9 offensive rebounds thus far in this one as Malik Williams goes to the jump hook. Nicely done over the top to increase the lead to 9 and starting to show just a bit of the presence on the offensive end of the floor that we've expected to see from Malik Williams throughout this season. Has stretched the lead to 9 over Notre Dame after only making one of their last 9 shots. The Cards have still been able to stretch out the lead, even though Notre Dame is now in a over 4-minute scoring drought after they were able to knock down a couple of threes after missing their first 6. And you see Notre Dame going to the zone. Samuel Williamson stepping right into the center of that with the nice soft touch over top of the shot blocker, Juwan Durham. First turnover of the game for Notre Dame as Nate Laszewski loses the basketball. Trainer unable to knock down the 3 from the corner. As Cormac Ryan finds Juwan Durham, a nice find over the top, allowing Durham to add 2 more points to the Fighting Irish tab and also break the scoring drought of over 4 minutes and cut the lead back to 9, getting it back into single digits. A double team on Carlik Jones. Once he comes off the screen, Dre Davis unable to finish from 3, but you can hear Coach Bray basically telling his team, stay with Jones. Not allowing Carlik Jones to be the initiator offensively, giving the basketball up, forcing one of his teammates. Carlik Jones expecting a call on that possession. Unable to get it. But Louisville's done a great job in this game thus far, getting back with their transition defense, getting their defense set. Even off of missed shots, not allowing Notre Dame any easy opportunities. From the field, Notre Dame shooting 27% from the field. Nate Laszewski, the leading scorer for Notre Dame, scoreless thus far in this game. And even though I asked myself the same question, I won't answer it because that would just be wrong. Cormac Ryan with a nice move at the top of the key to free himself up, give himself enough space to knock down the mid-range jumper over top of Malik Williams. As Louisville's only made 2 of their last 13 field goals, however, still hold a 7-point lead as they will try to use some clock going into the end of this first half to try not to allow Notre Dame a good opportunity at the other end of the floor. Lineup, we will see Slazinski at some 3 as well as to how they're going to approach it, and he's right now imploring his guys to pick up full court.
And they can be aggressive with a foul to give.
Good to see Trey Words back.
Off him. An even tougher night tonight here against the Cardinals, who are a very good defensive team.
Yeah, been different for Laszewski to adjust to being the guy. Ooh, as he takes a tough fall.
Man. And
can he get going? But neither of these teams have shot the basketball very well. 32% and 34% respectively for both teams thus far.
The good news for Notre Dame, Laszewski is out there on the court. And he did walk off under his own power. Davis will try the first shot. He'll nail that, a 3-pointer to get the Cardinals going in the second half.
Yeah, it was Trey Davis who knocked down the first 3 in the first half for the Cards to get them on the board. So starts the second the same way he started the game. An encouraging sign for a team that struggled shooting the basketball in the first half of this one.
Wirtz flipping one up and in. The 6'5 junior from Charlotte had a big game against Purdue back in December. He put in 27, so he could be a big factor in the offense. Underneath
in this one thus far, 8 points for him. But I don't think anyone would give Notre Dame much of a chance if Nate Laszewski is going to be scoreless in the first half.
Yeah, certainly not. At 25-9 against North Carolina, 28 points against Virginia. Now, you know, Corey, it was an interesting week for Chris Mack, the Louisville head coach. Made a couple of apologies after a 33-second video clip hit Twitter. That was from a home gathering at Mack's house following Louisville's December victory over rival Kentucky. And he admits that, as he was quoted as saying, it was not a good look to be shown not wearing a mask. He said, not putting on my mask around the house, neighbors and friends. Former Louisville football player Eric Wood, who said that Cal will never beat Louisville again. Heard on the clip because Kenny Payne no longer.
Chris Mack's comments was, he says, we teach our young people that when you make a mistake, to own it. So he needed to be the first guy to own his mistake, and I can appreciate that, especially as a leader of men, as Chris Mack is and has.
And a 69% foul shooter and a very good free throw shooting team, and knocks down the pair.
Which is odd because Nate Laszewski shoots 64% from the field. Yes. You're talking about a guy that's shooting over 50% from 3. And if the one struggle that he has is really the fact that he's a 69%, free throw shooter, he should be a much better shooter than that when you consider everything else that he does.
You would think. Well, you see Withers skying in there to grab that rebound. Great second effort there. And the pull-up pop will be in for Williamson. But really, big tip of the cap to Withers for making that happen.
But that's where the game has really been in control of Louisville. It's been the second chance points and the offensive rebounds. They have dominated the glass against Notre Dame in this game this far.
Jones, and that's going to be a foul.
That are in the game. See on the Jumbotron the call made against Carlik Jones, and they feel as though it should have gone the other direction.
I think the officials are fortunate the place isn't packed, knowing how loud it can get at the KFC Yum Center. And sticking that one on the opposite end of the court is Prentice Hub, the 6'3 junior. So this cuts it to an 8-point game.
Yeah, Prentice Hub, just like that, becomes the leading scorer for Notre Dame. He's knocked down 3 threes in this game, 3 for 4 from beyond the arc. But that has been all of his attempts. Only 5 shots in this game as Williamson gets back to that mid-range. He's starting to heat up, liking his spots on the floor, and his teammates for giving him the basketball right where he can be successful.
Bryant trying to negotiate, and will pick up number 2, 41-31. Right back out for Leshevsky, but he's just off. And we certainly documented that even before he went down so hard and stayed on the court right at the end of the first half. His game was off tonight.
But the interesting part is to see whether Nate Leshevsky will actually hunt his offense in comparison to just taking what the defense gives him. When you're the leading scorer, oftentimes you have to be aggressive in going out and trying to find your shots because the opponents are trying their best to take you out of the offense. So he's going to have to be a little more aggressive on the offensive end of the floor to try to help his team get a win.
And
if that call didn't go against Cormac Ryan on that possession.
No question. So Louisville trying to add to a 10-point advantage and trying to shake Notre Dame early here in the second half.
And Notre Dame changing the defense, going to a 1-3-1 zone, but you often have to cover those corners, and it's difficult to rebound out of the 1-3-1. They come up with a defensive stop on that possession. See if they can turn it into any type of momentum on the other side.
I'm thinking about getting off a long one and sticks it. Boy, that was a confident looking shot.
You know, and Prentice Hub makes a lot of difficult shots. Again, that is not something that comes within the offense. That is solely me against you playing one-on-one. Prentice Hub won that possession as he has on his last 2 3-point opportunities.
Yeah, he has 12 points. So keeping Notre Dame right there, 41-34. Sweet shot by Dre Davis. This man in Louisville, Kentucky, owning and operating a trucking and transportation business. Great story.
Absolutely. I was fortunate to be recruited by Wade Houston when he was at Tennessee and also played against him. Allen's senior year at Virginia, they came and played against us in the NIT tournament. And of course, you know, Wade was a big-time player, but I think Allen might game with only 78 offensive rebounds compared to their opponents with 151. So, you know, Louisville's definitely had the advantage in this one, and right now that's been a difference maker. Part of the reason why the Cards hold a 7-point lead.
Rebounding a weakness, and defense has been a weakness for the Fighting Irish. It's very rarely been their offense.
Yeah, rarely their offense, and one of the things that Coach Bray's told us, Obi, is the fact that they'll get the original stop. But when you don't finish the possession with the defensive rebound, now you give a team another opportunity, and you have been on defense, you know, for 30, 45 seconds. And that's really where his team has struggled all year long. And right there, Carlik Jones getting to his sweet spot right in the middle of the floor and knocking down the easy two as Leshevsky continues to struggle from the field.
Yeah, you mentioned that, you know, he might start hunting that shot a little bit more. He has, but they're just not falling for him.
You know, against the zone, Chris Mack runs great action. And you see a set play against the zone defense, getting the shot they want. Nice screen on the inside to get Slazinski the ball in the middle, who finds Withers for the easy bucket.
Good one off the fake, trying to take it to the lane, went in strong and draws.
5 for 7 thus far. So he's been the one guy that's been able to put pressure on.
Point game. And Notre Dame trying to pressure here. Fighting Irish letting a 20-point second half advantage slip away at Syracuse on Saturday. Resounding win for the Orange. And they went to Duke in the very next game and took a loss there and flipped up and in. Nicely done by Dre Davis.
As Notre Dame goes back to the man-to-man defense, Dre Davis going to the post and taking advantage of his size over Cormac Ryan, but a defensive breakdown for Louisville, giving up the easy 2 to Juwan Durham, and that will not make Chris Mack happy. He has talked about their defense, and this is a team that was holding opponents to 40.1%, which led the ACC before they went into that second COVID pause. Of course, coming back off of that 19-day layoff, they weren't good defensively against North Carolina, but they've been much better here in this game. A number of breakdowns I'm sure Coach Mack will be talking to his team about in the film session.
Freshman trainer with a miss. Louisville had made 4 in a row. Up to that point, rebound tip, second effort on the way. Ryan can't hit from way downtown.
And Obi, I don't know if it's just me or if you see it as well. It seems like those last 2 threes were rushed by Notre Dame. I mean, Prentice Hubbs actually followed his shot. That used to be something that coaches would teach. No longer taught anymore. You don't follow your shot because that means you're feeling like you're going to miss it. You're not confident in that look.
Leschewski got a really good look. You know, a shot from distance, but that's not one he hits tonight.
Yeah, with the Notre Dame's gotten 3 shots in a row from 3 really good shooters. Just haven't come away with any points with it. Hubb, Ryan, and Leschewski all getting a good look.
Davis off the back of the iron. Hubb on a run out. Wants to take it himself, trying to go in strong off the window, and a pretty bucket.
A nice finish by Prentice Hubb right there, recognizing he did not want to put on the brakes. Sees Carlik Jones and attacks him one-on-one, picking up the bucket in transition.
Hubb the junior having a nice night now with 14 points. He's become the go-to guy for the Fighting Irish, far more than Leschewski, who's really having a hard time.
And Notre Dame switching defenses back into the zone, but not enough pressure on Carlik Jones, who just tees it up from beyond the arc.
Yes, way beyond that arc. He has no issue there. Inside for Durham and a quick strike. So, you know, the Fighting Irish, whenever it looks like Louisville's about to go on a lengthy run, maybe put them away, Notre Dame comes quickly back to score. Durham has 12.
But that was not very good pick and roll coverage from Louisville on that possession. And again, when you know Chris Mack and what he wants from his team, you will see that, of course, he's not going to be happy about the rotation defensively, allowing Durham to get easy baskets right at the rim.
Up with the kick, Wirtz with the shot, barely glancing off the iron though. That would have given Notre Dame a serious lift had he hit that shot, but still 52-43 the Cardinals. Jones up top, comes in averaging 17 points a game, at 25 against Duke and 25 against Miami. Davis gives up the basketball. Slozinski does too. Flipped up, and that won't drop by Hubb.
Final 9:55 to try to get a win here at the KFC Yum Center.
And Louisville has never trailed in this one, on top 52-43 and the basketball. And as Corey mentioned, under 10 minutes to go. On the baseline, Slozinski will knock that one down.
And Louisville has done a great job of recognizing whether Notre Dame is playing man or playing zone. They've been switching their defenses, oftentimes based upon whether they make or miss a shot on one end of the floor. But the Cards have been prepared every time coming down, as Dane Goodwin's prepared on the wing, knocking down the 3 for him as he started to heat up a little bit, got going at the free throw line. And now up to 9 points on the evening for Dane.
He has 9 points. Williams lets fly. And right back to the Irish, and a chance to get maybe uncomfortably close for the Louisville Cardinals. Hubb will back it away now for Notre Dame.
And recognizing the mismatch, Juwan Durham with Carlik Jones on his back is able to go finish, and give Prentice Hubb a tremendous amount of credit, because Hubb was trying to attack the basket but realized that there was a mismatch underneath, pulled it out, and got the ball inside to the big fellow, who was able to come away with 2 points.
Well, this is the closest that Notre Dame has been in this half, 54-48. Still a lot of time remaining here at the KFC Yum Center.
And right now, Notre Dame actually playing what looks to be a box and one, with, of course, the one on Carlik Jones, who goes into his bag for a one-on-one move, unable to finish. And now Notre Dame with an opportunity to cut even deeper into that lead.
And flips it. Officials
The one thing you cannot do as an official, you can't change anything based on the Jumbotron. That's one thing for certain.
You sense it's a big possession for Notre Dame. They get it inside exactly to the man they wanted in the paint, and Durham couldn't hit it.
Yeah, absolutely right, Obi. That was a great opportunity for Durham, who's been great around the basket the entire game, just unable to finish a point-blank layup. But still a stop for Notre Dame and an opportunity to continue to cut into this lead as Louisville started to slow down a bit on the offensive end of the floor.
Goodwin lets fly. Not there for him. Well, the Irish had a couple of opportunities to cut into it even more, but a pair of misfires and another turnover. Kick back over to the Irish. Up with a pull-up pop. And another miss for the Fighting Irish.
And of course, I love Prentice Hubb's aggressiveness, but I honestly believe that was one, if he'd gotten it to Dane Goodwin, that could have been an easy layup for Goodwin, or at least contested at the rim, possibly getting a foul, putting him back at the free throw line. And it ends up being a 4-point swing. You don't get two on one end for Notre Dame. And then Louisville comes down. Samuel Williamson knocks in an easy mid-range jumper, and the lead is back to 8.
Boy, that's got to sting Notre Dame to have those opportunities while the Cardinals were in a pretty serious drought, and they could not do much. Ryan singed for the most part, but now uncomfortably close, I think they'd have to say.
I would believe so, especially when you consider on your home court where you are used to being able to get separation. They haven't been able to find that separation against this Notre Dame team, who has found his rhythm on the offensive end of the
52 days. Louisville defeated Georgia Tech here at the Yum Center on February 1st and finally get back on the court, their home floor tonight, where they are 8-1. Jones kicks it back out. Davis, a good look. Around and out. Good second effort again.
Yeah, another opportunity, offensive rebound that turns into 3 second chance points. Samuel Williamson getting on the glass, finding Carlik Jones for the 3.
Now, Sam Williamson's done a lot of the little things tonight, as that one sails a game for Chris Mack.
Yeah, he has. He's actually been averaging a double-double. Came off the bench 3 games before the COVID pause and was averaging a double-double, 11 points and 11.7 rebounds in that stretch. Back into the starting lineup now with David Johnson being out and Quinn Slazinski stepping back into the starting lineup with him as well. So both those guys being productive. And Slazinski gets a second chance opportunity in the game prior. You see right now just trying to walk it off.
Goodwin on the attack, a little fall away. So 5 minutes to go, and the Cardinals up by 10, looking to add on right here. Jones going one-on-one with Hub. Gives it again. Yes! Well, another big play for him.
But you see his confidence just growing, Obi. You're talking about a young man that was a McDonald's All-American 2 years ago. Now in his sophomore year, played behind Jordan Moore a lot last season. But you see his confidence continuing to grow on a daily basis in Chris Mack's system, now becoming a very important member of this Louisville rotation.
Well, the Cardinals now trying to put the hammer down on their home floor. Davis on the spin, but he gives it up. Over the top, and yes, it's Durham again. They love that play.
Well, when you got an athlete like Juwan Durham at the basket, you got to love it. When he has opportunities, just throw it up to where only he can get it. Normally, he's going to finish it off for 2.
Under 4 minutes to go tonight here in this ACC clash between Notre Dame and Louisville. Obviously, a huge game for the Ville. Opportunity to pick up a much-needed win and go to 12-5. Rebound comes back to you-know-who, and Williamson is Johnny on the spot again.
And he's flirting with that double-double once again. Sam Williamson now up to 8 boards, I believe maybe 9 at this point, 12 points for him.
He's been one of the better players in the ACC, frankly, all season long. Has been an absolute non-factor tonight. And went down very, very hard at the end of the first half, Corey. And in the final seconds, as Durham works hard inside to drop in 2 more.
And Leschewski not even on the floor right now for Mike Bray's group as Juwan Durham becomes the interior focus. And Notre Dame trying to get some full court pressure going after scores. Now down 10. Mike Bray trying to see if he can force Louisville into a couple of turnovers. And right now looking at 55 points with only 3:05 remaining. It has not been the offensive production that he was looking for from his team. And also he knew that defensively trying to rebound against this Louisville team, which was the second leading rebounding program in the ACC coming into this game, was going to be a tough task. And Louisville has definitely flexed his muscle on the glass.
Jones in hard, high off the window, won't go for him. So you have to say for the Irish, they are not beyond striking distance, trailing by 10, but they've got to go quickly. And a foul against a donation from New York Life based on their affiliated ACC team's final rankings.
Yeah, New York Life does a tremendous job always with the ACC tournament and also with a lot of community events. I get a chance to get involved with them at the ACC tournament in a normal non-COVID year where you can actually hang out with people. But, you know, props to New York Life for always being a great part of the ACC and the ACC tournament.
Partner, we're getting back to those days.
We're on our way back, Obi. I'm taking your word for it.
Yes, please do. Jones on the drive from 17, and he got it to go in front of the horn.
And that's a tough bucket right there. You really could look at that as a dagger, because when you consider it is now a 12-point game, when you don't make free throws on one end of the floor and give up a bucket on the other end, difficult to overcome those circumstances if you're Notre Dame.
And Louisville playing lockdown defense.
You know, only 11.9 fouls per game, which is tops in the country as far as least fouls. They're not even in the bonus. And that's the one thing that, of course, when games like this, when you're down, you've got to be able to find ways to get the other team to make mistakes against the pressure, even though they don't finish the alley-oop, still come up with the easy bucket. 2 more second chance points for the Cards.
Hub's got to get a shot in the air. Time running out. Way downtown. That's going to be short by Goodwin. This is a 13-4 run for Louisville at a great time of the game. Certainly in any kind of a groove before that. Jones back at the line. Can't hit. Coming up on the 1-minute mark.
Good to see Cormac Ryan back on the floor after turning that ankle. He's back.
5.
And if Louisville is able to hang on and win this game, this is a big statement from them after, you know, what happened with them on Saturday in Chapel Hill, which normally has them probably at a 10 seed. And so when you consider that, you know, this win does wonders for them from the standpoint of staying in the field and also keeping Notre Dame out.
And a traveling violation. And a quick strike on the other end. Coming up, seconds, and they're going to press the Cardinals. A bounce in for Jones. And they're going to break the pressure and get it off into the offensive zone, and a foul with
Barry. And get, well, you know, best wishes to both those guys. Non-COVID issues for both of them, just feeling under the weather. And so, you know, hopefully they get their full complement of guys back very soon, as Chris Mack is trying to prepare his team moving forward into the ACC tournament. And Mike Bray's group, I mean, they're going to be a tough out, no question about that. The way this team can score, Louisville just found his defensive rhythm tonight and found a way to keep Nate Leschewski out of the mix. You know, 15 points missing from your lineup, that's difficult to win with for the Fighting Irish.
So